What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the show, I sat down with an amazing guest. He's been doing SEO services since 2007, so almost 2 decades in the industry of helping business owners and real estate agents get in front of more people searching to buy or sell a home. Welcome to the show, Brandon Leibowitz. All right, welcome to the show today, Brandon. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about, your specialty, SEO, getting exposure, and I think that's something that every real estate agent and listener of this show would be interested in learning more about. Before we kind of maybe dive into some of the specifics and things that real estate agents should be doing, give us a little bit about your background and bio and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, my name is Brandon Leibowitz, and I got involved with digital marketing after I graduated from college, got my degree in business marketing, and the first job I got out of school was helping a company out with their digital marketing back in 2007, which I didn't really know much about it. They said, don't worry, we don't know much either. We're going to learn with you, taking you to classes and workshops and seminars. So decided to give that a shot, and after working there for a few months, just realized this is the future. Everyone's probably going to have a website, and there's lots of different ways to get traffic. Back then, I was helping out with like social media, doing email marketing, doing paid ads, doing SEO, and all that works. But SEO is just a way to get free traffic, and I thought, who doesn't want free traffic? And over the years, I focused on SEO, working at different advertising agencies as a director of SEO, and before work or after work and on my lunch breaks, I'd work on my own company and eventually built that up to where I was able to quit my job and focus solely on this, and been doing that ever since, just helping people tap into that free traffic from Google.
So you've been doing this for 17 years. It's probably a lot, but how has it changed, and how have the methods changed? It's probably evolved a ton in that time period.
It's definitely changed a lot, but overall, the main fundamental, Google's just trying to clean up spam. That's usually what they're doing, is people find loopholes and ways to game the system, and they try to stop that. But for the most part, what Google looked for at the beginning is kind of similar to what they're looking for today. It's good quality content, keywords on the website, so they know what keywords to rank you for. But none of that really matters to Google because they just don't trust anybody, and you have to build trust up. And the way you get Google to trust you is by getting what are called backlinks, getting other websites to talk about you. What is a backlink? A backlink is a clickable link from another website that points to yours. So let's say you're reading an article on Forbes.com. In there it says Brandon, and you click on it and it goes to my website. I'd be getting a backlink from Forbes.com. So the more websites that link out to you, the more popular Google sees you as, and the more trust they're going to give to you. But there's lots of other changes that's been going on, but for the most part, it's really kind of the fundamental algorithm is backlinks and good quality content. And then there's all these little nuances and tweaks and changes, like making sure your website's mobile friendly, it loads quickly, making sure you have experience, you're an expert in all these things. But really it comes down to those backlinks and keywords.
So backlinks, keywords, getting other people to point to you. If you were, if a real estate agent reached out to you and was like, hey, got this website, doing a blog, want to get more traffic, what are some of the first things you would do to work with them and help them?
Yeah, since also your local business, so getting you up on Google Business Profile, Google Maps, that one is really important. So getting you on Google local maps and your website ranked, because the more real estate you can take up on that first page of Google, the more likely someone is going to click, go to your website and learn more about you. So want to get you on Google Business Profile and fill out all the information. If it says write 1,000 words about you, write all 1,000 words. Don't write 50 words or 100 words. You have to fill out all that information. The more you put in there, the more likely you're going to start ranking and showing up for those keywords. And then working on the website, making sure all the keywords are in the correct places, doing keyword research, figuring out what keywords do people actually search for. Do they search for realtor, real estate agent? What are they searching for? Sell my home fast. All those different keywords are going to get different searches and different intent. And that's where you got to figure out what keywords do you want to rank for. and then do the research using tools like the Google Keyword Planner. It's a free tool from Google, and I'll show you how many people actually search for your keyword every single month. That way you target the right keywords.
Gotcha. Now, in terms of like getting their Google business set up, let's say they do that. How important are client reviews, if at all, on there? Does that play a factor? Like, should agents be proactively getting people to review them on there?
Reviews are good for people. When we see, 5 stars, that draws our eye in. The more reviews, the more trust humans are going to give to you. But Google or Yelp or Amazon, any of these review websites, it's not the number of reviews. Like you could see, if you search, you might see someone ranked number 1 might have 5 reviews. Number 2 could have 200 reviews. So it's not necessarily the number of reviews that matters, but they do help out. But there's a lot of other factors that go into it, like keywords in the reviews, much more important. Like getting a couple keywords in your reviews is going to push you up to the top, but there's all these other variables that go into it. Like Google wants to see that you don't have just a listing on Google Business Profile, but you have a Yelp, a Yellow Pages, a MapQuest, an Apple Maps, a Bing Maps. All these maps, the more maps you're on, the higher or the more trust Google's going to give to you, and the higher they're going to rank you on Google Maps.
Okay, so you've got to put your stuff on all the platforms. I'm sure tying social media to all of these as well. Do you sort of have a game plan, like if you were going to work with a real estate agent, and like, here's what you need to do, or do you go out and do it for them, or like what's, how do you help real estate agents that might be interested figure out how to do all this? Because it, in some ways, is like almost a second job. It seems like, for agents that need to be out generating leads and working with clients and showing homes. So how do you help agents implement this so that they can get in front of more people?
Yeah, I take care of it for them. So doing everything for them. That way they don't have to learn SEO. I also teach classes, but a lot of times, like you said, it becomes a second job. And do you want to learn a whole new skill? Some people have time for it, and great, but most people just are like, it's too much work, because it does take a lot of time to get Google to trust you. Putting the keywords, all that stuff is pretty straightforward, but it's the backlinks. That's the part that takes the most time, where you have to be very patient, reach out to lots of websites, build relationships with other webmasters to try to get them to give you a backlink, which is not easy to do.
How do you think, focusing on SEO compares to, let's say, focusing on Instagram or making long form like YouTube content? Like where do you kind of rank, the differences or where people should be spending their time?
You should try to take a step back and think, if you were looking for your product or service, where would you go? So anytime I work with any business, I always tell them, try to take a step back and think, like, if you were looking for your product or service, since you're a real estate agent, it's like, where would you go looking to sell your home or buy a home? And that's where you need to be. So you don't need to be everywhere, because you're going to spread yourself too thin. But you need to be in front of your audience and try to think, like, if I was looking to sell a home, would I be on LinkedIn? Maybe, probably not. Or TikTok, possibly. Instagram, maybe. But people are probably going to be searching on Google, or going into like some of the like Zillow or something like that, Trulia, hot pads maybe. So trying to optimize those listings. But most people usually start on Google. Once they find you, then they're going to check you out on social media to make sure you're like a real business, make sure you have reviews, make sure you're credible, trustworthy, so more like social proof. But every business is different, so you just got to really take a step back and think, where would I be going, or where would my potential customers be going if they're looking for me?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it, like the difference, right? Like if I'm a consumer and I'm going to Google and I'm searching like, how to buy a home in Arlington, Virginia, or how to sell my home fast, I'm proactively searching for information, right? Like we on our team we call that intent-based behavior, right? Versus if I'm on Facebook or Instagram, I'm really looking to be entertained or to connect with friends or to complain about politics, right? I'm there for some other reason, and then you just disrupted my scrolling with talking about a house, right? And I think that's, we call that more disruptive behavior. So do you think you're more ready to buy now clients or sell now clients are probably going to come through the Google channel, maybe YouTube if they want to watch videos to get more education about it, which, YouTube and Google are closely related on, I would argue, on like the searching kind of behavior. And then you're right, after that, if you're providing good enough information on those platforms, they'll go to Facebook or Instagram to kind of build the relationship, right? So I think both can work, right? Like you can get people to build a relationship with you early on Instagram, for example. It just may be a while before they need to buy or sell a house, right? And versus like the area you play in, it's more of the people that are like actively searching for the product or service that you offer and they want to use it now. So would you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, people are searching on Google, they're actively looking versus social media, you're just kind of interrupting people, hoping they're interested based off interests and demographics and targeting, but doesn't mean they want to use your service now. They might in the past have used it or they want to maybe use it in the future, but you don't know if they want to use it now, whereas someone's searching, they're actively looking on Google. So it's a little bit different, but that's where, again, you just got to think like if I was selling my home, what I want to see, or if I'm trying to sell my house, would I want to see ads on Facebook, and is that going to drive me to your website? Possibly, but usually it's not going to be so impactful. It's usually focusing on Google or even Yelp, potentially, just because those are where people usually search for real estate agents or those types of businesses, like service-based businesses. So having that visibility and exposure, I'd say on Google and Yelp are probably the two starting points for real estate agents that I'd focus on. Having a presence everywhere is of course good, but you don't want to spread yourself too thin. And YouTube is also good because Google owns YouTube, but
Right.
of how many people are actually searching for like how to sell my home on YouTube versus on Google, they're probably going to do it a little bit more, but YouTube is the second most popular search engine on the internet. So having a presence there is really helpful because it also puts a face behind the company. So you could see someone talking, it builds that trust up, human trust. So it builds up that trust, like, okay, now I know who you are. I've seen your face. I've seen you speaking. It gives you a little bit more credibility and trust.
Should agents with that have a website, obviously all agents should have a website, should they be focused on a blog within the website to drive new content, drive SEO? How important is that?
No, blogging is very, very important. And because you make a website, you list out all your services or whatever you're putting on your website, but there's only so many things that you do. So after you've built out your website, you're like, all right, this is all the stuff I do, but I want to rank for new keywords. Because each page can only really target about like 3 to 5 words. After that, loses relevancy. So the more pages you have, the more keywords you could target, and blogs became popular because it's just another way to add more pages, add more content to your website. And these are more kind of like questions that people might ask. You solve that issue by writing an answer, leading people in. So somebody might say like, what's the best way to sell my house? You wouldn't really have a page about that on your website, but you write a blog post about that, about the different ways to sell your home. And then in there you could say, and by the way, you could use a real estate agent. So kind of leading people into using your services. So getting people in searching on Google for questions, they find your blog, they read those blog posts, and then hopefully they want to then learn more about you.
How often should agents be blogging if they want to get serious about SEO and traffic?
I mean, you could do it once a month. The more, the better. But if you're just updating it once a month, that's good enough. But the more you put out, the better. So the more topics, the more keywords you're going to be able to rank for. So I would say if you could do more, great, like once a week. But that could be a little overwhelming for people. So once a month is a good starting point, and then any extra is just like a little bonus.
And how many words should your average blog be? Any advice on that?
It should be more than your competitors. So it's not really a one size fits all. Everyone says write 400 words or 800 words, but that's not how Google works because Google says like sometimes you might have a question and it requires more than 800 words, or sometimes you might have a blog post that doesn't need to be that long. So what you need to do is you need to go into Google and search for your keywords. So whatever topic that you're writing about, if you're writing about how to sell my home fast, type that into Google, open up the 10 websites on that first page of Google and look at how much text they have and then average it out. If everyone's writing 1,000 words, you probably need to write 1,100 words. If everyone is writing 50 words, you only need to write like 100 words. So you want to do like a little bit more than your competitors, but it's not really a one size fits all with SEO. Really what we want to do in general is look at your competition, because Google changes their algorithm every single day. So even if you figured out how Google works, tomorrow it's going to change, the next day it's going to change, and we're not trying to beat Google. I mean, of course we want to beat Google, but really we want to figure out who's on that first page of Google for your keywords and how much SEO have they done and how can we do a better job of it. That's really what matters.
All right, and if someone is new to this, or maybe they're new to the industry, they're just starting out, make a website, they're on social, how long does it typically take, with SEO as a strategy before they start to see results or benefits? Or maybe it's different for everyone, but just on average, if I'm sure this isn't something where they call you up, Brandon, and like the next week people are calling, finding him on Google. So how long can people expect for this strategy to take?
It's more of the long run, long-term strategy. It's
Yeah.
not immediate. If you want immediate results, paid ads, but SEO takes, again, it's not really a one size fits all, but maybe around 6 months, depending on if you're a brand new website, and Google is not going to trust you. But if you've been around for a long time and you have an old website and you have some backlinks, then it'll move up quicker. It really comes down to the trust. Google just doesn't want to rank a brand new website. They don't trust you. They don't want to
Right.
rank you and then find out that you flipped from being a real estate agent to selling pharmaceutical drugs, which happens all the time. So Google has to really scrutinize every website to make sure you really are who you say you are. And that just takes time, and that is really part of the backlinks. The backlinks take time to build them. You can't just build a bunch of backlinks and rank. You have to build them up over time, slowly. Into Google, every website or a normal website would be getting new backlinks on a consistent basis. So you always have to be building new backlinks to build that trust up. And also it just depends on what city you're in. If you're in a small city with not that much competition, it'll move much faster. But if you're like Los Angeles or a big city where it's very competitive, it's going to take more time, because the more competition, the more time it's going to take, the more backlinks you're going to need to build, and the longer the process is going to take. But then you can target surrounding areas. Like if you're in Los Angeles, you could also target all the cities surrounding Los Angeles, try to target some of the smaller ones. That will move up faster than the more bigger general cities.
Awesome. Now, so what you're saying is at least 6 months if you're brand new, and I assume the advantage, right? Because some people might say like 6 months is too long. Well, do other things in the interim to generate the business, right? Like don't just sit back and wait for the 6 months. But the advantage here is, like, once you get that ranking and you've exerted a certain amount of energy, effort, content to get there, it probably takes less than to maintain it. Is that correct?
For the most part, maybe again, it comes down to the competition.
Yeah.
So if you're in a smaller city, not much competition, because there's only 10 spots on that first page of Google. So if you're in a city with like 8 other real estate agents, you don't have to do too much to maintain it. But if you're in Los Angeles or New York City or anywhere where it's very competitive, then you're gonna have to maintain it, because once you get to that first page of Google, you're knocking someone off that first page of Google. They're not gonna be happy about it, and they're gonna look at everything you've done. They're gonna look at your backlinks, your keywords. They're gonna look at everything, because everything is transparent if you know where to look. So the way I rank my clients'
Right.
websites is I start off by going and looking at their competitors' keywords, their backlinks, looking at their whole strategy and try to figure out what's working for them and how can we incorporate that into my clients' websites.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on the show today. I always like to end with a HyperFast round if you're ready for a couple rapid fire questions and answers here.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. What would your biggest piece of advice to be to a new agent, hasn't started doesn't even have a website yet, what would you tell them to do?
Probably get a website as soon as possible because the website is yours. Social media, you don't own any of that stuff. So a lot of people have a Facebook page, but you don't own that page. They could take you down, and the reach is so low. Plus, there's ads everywhere on social media. So on your own website, you're not going to put a bunch of ads for other people. So you have to think like if I on all these other third-party sites, I mean, it's not bad. It's a good starting point, but you don't control it, and it's not yours. You're just kind of renting space off these platforms. So having your own website is yours. You get full control. You customize it. You can build it out. But also building an email list too. I would say email is probably the most effective form of marketing. It's just tough to build a list. Don't buy a list. You have to build it up. And if you could start building a list sooner than later, that's really going to be the best long-term strategy.
Those are really two great pieces of advice. I know it's HyperFast round, but I just want to spend a second on that and make sure everyone's understanding it. Like, you don't own your Facebook traffic. You don't own your Instagram. Those things can change. Website, you've got a lot more control over. Email list, you own their contact information at that point. And the thing I would add too for real estate agents out there is don't build your website on your broker's platform or domain. Like, make sure you have your own domain and server name or server as well. Like, if you build it on your companies and you ever want to change or go somewhere else, like, you could lose all of that in the second.
Yep, that's a big one. I see that all the time with half the real estate agents I work with have websites that are not theirs. They're built on Realtor.com, or I forget the names, but they're built on other platforms where it's not theirs, and they get what's called a subdomain. So it might be like yourname.realtor.com. So it's really Realtor.com's website. It's not yours. So get your own domain name, buy it, build that presence up, build a website on WordPress. WordPress is probably the best platform out there. It's free. It's completely customizable. It's very SEO friendly, and that's going to be the best long-term strategy.
Awesome. Two other questions here. One, what are some of the biggest mistakes you see people make when it comes to SEO?
Backlinks are probably the biggest mistake. Either they don't know what backlinks are and they're not building backlinks, which I have a lot of people that come to me and there's like, why am I not ranking? And then I look at their website and realize they don't have any backlinks. We start building backlinks and they start moving up those rankings. Or it's the other way around. People know what backlinks are and they buy them from like Fiverr or something like that, where if you build the wrong type of backlinks, instead of ranking higher, it's actually going to drop you down. So you have to be careful with the backlinks, that you build the right type of backlinks. And to Google, a quality backlink means it's from a site that's related to what you're doing and also has some authority. So if you're a real estate agent and you're getting a backlink from a mechanic or an auto body shop, that looks a little weird. I mean, maybe you help them sell their property, so it's okay to get like one or two like that, but the majority of the backlinks need to be from sites that are related to what you're doing. That is really, really important. So don't just go after any random website. Go after targeted websites that are relevant, and then authoritativeness. Like, how big, how popular is this website? A lot of people just go on Fiverr buying links from real estate websites that look like they're real websites, but they're actually fake PBNs, called private blog network, where people build a bunch of websites to look like real businesses, but they're not real businesses. And it's a little weird, it's a little confusing, and it's tough to really hone through them. But if you see a website and it doesn't have a phone number on it or a contact email, probably a fake website. So that's how you can kind of differentiate the two.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, I appreciate your time and appreciate you being on the show today and all your great advice. If people want to connect with you or learn more about, your services or how they, how you can help them with SEO, how do they do that?
Yeah, so I create a special gift for everybody if they go to my website at SEOoptimizers.com. That's SEOoptimizers.com/gift. They can find that gift there along with my contact information and a bunch of classes I've done over the years. I've done it up free so they can see step by step how to do a lot of stuff that we talked about. And also, if they want a free website analysis, I'm happy to check out their website from an SEO point of view, and they can book some time on my calendar for free there as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brandon, and to all of our listeners and viewers out there. Go check that out. Take advantage of the classes or the website analysis, and put some of these teachings into practice for you. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Please share this episode with other real estate agents and people that you think would, benefit from Brandon's teachings today. And again, thank you so much for being on the show today, Brandon. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on today.